What is up, everybody? This is your boy, Metahuman Macaluco, and on today's interview, I have none other than the legendary DJ Munkey with us today here at Grimz. I want to extend a huge shout out to Grimz for allowing this to happen today. Let's get right into the music. How are we doing today, boss?
Boss?
Good. So Munkey, can you please tell us about how you got your start?
Alright, so I first started, I guess the good answer would be as an online show host and promoter for online radios. I promoted a lot of death metal bands. I promoted a lot of horrorcore rappers. So I guess my first jump into music was through that kind of jump on the scene. And then I evolved into learning how to DJ and discovering dubstep and being a roadie for Wonderland Productions. And going to events through that, kind of seeing that element, seeing that culture, embed myself into that culture, discovering dubstep through that culture. So my story was basically just working within music scenes, and then eventually I will become a DJ.
Through that adventure, when did you start mixing the two genres together, metal and dubstep?
When I first heard Korn, so my favorite band's Korn, and they did a song with Skrillex. I think everybody by now knows that song. Really enamored with that. When I started learning how to spin, I wanted to do something that I would enjoy, and I'm a metal fan. I do metal festivals, metal concerts and stuff. Like, I'm always in that world. When I grew up, that's the music that I listened to. So when it came to what do I want to do as a DJ that was different than what everybody else is doing as a DJ, I wanted to mix those two together. So when I saw that it was being done through Korn, that idea was already starting to be played with, I wanted to go further into that. I wanted to be the guy that played Slipknot when Slipknot shouldn't be heard, play Lamb of God where you wouldn't think to hear that. I wanted to go into nightclubs and create headbanging and moshing and shit like that. So that was the idea of Metalstep to me was, how do I spin dubstep in a way that better reflects who I am as opposed to just spinning dubstep? You know what I'm saying? Because that's not as fun.
Now, that same concept allowed you to come up with Blood as time went on?
Partly, yeah. Blood, when Blood happened around 2011, 2010, 2011 was when that idea was created.
Right.
And it was because it was in the era of Dayglow and Life in Color. So they were doing paint parties, and I loved the idea of the paint party. I just didn't like all the colors. I didn't like the rainbows and the positive. I wanted to do something. How do I make this metal? How do I make it monkified? How do I put my own spin on this? So I decided all red paint parties. And kind of like that intro Blood that we were talking about, or being played.
Right.
So the idea of Blood was the all red paint party on Friday the 13th. I wanted to make that point because I was going to keep revisiting this party every Friday the 13th. However, we had to drop the paint. The paint was a problem. The paint in venues, they don't like the mess and all that.
No,
so we only had 2 actual Blood paint parties. But Blood was able to transcend that idea. It was so big at that point that we had to keep throwing it with or without the paint. So we just kept Friday the 13th because that was stamped, that was established. People were expecting it by that point. And I think the first time we did a headline for that party was the third one when we did DJ Venom, and that was an amazing turnout. People loved that event, that and Bass Nacho. that was how we kept it going. Was just adding more and more and more onto that. But I love that. I love that event with all of my heart. That is like my thought child. Granted, I don't want to take full credit of that. I had that idea with my partner Renzo, with Team Underground. And without those guys, I wouldn't been able to execute that idea. But I'm very proud of that part. It's like when it's, and the more I can talk about blood, the better.
Have you had blood here at Grimz?
Yes, we had our last blood was here at Grimz. Did great, had a lot of fun there. I expect to have blood here at Grimz again next time Friday the 13th rolls around. Whenever Friday the 13th is around, you should expect to see or hear about blood. June's the next one.
Gotcha. Now, Halloween, that's your birthday.
Yeah.
Do you ever throw shows around that?
And whenever it's feasible, yes. I used to throw a party that was called "Don't Come to This Party." I wanted to prove to people that they don't like to listen to me. So that's normally what that party is called, but we went away from it this year and called it Monkey's Bazaar. But normally around Halloween time, you should expect to see a party. I love throwing my birthday. It's like the one time that I can paint my face and not feel like, all right, I can't go to the McDonald's, they might arrest me in the drive-thru.
Have you done this same face paint at all the venues?
Yeah.
Every single one?
Every one that I've played at since my return from hiatus. So this presentation wasn't always what I was doing. There was a 5-year break that I had taken, and then when I came out of that break, I started playing shows without the band, just me. And what I had noticed was people were coming to me and like, hey, what's your name? Are you new? I've never seen you before. You smell really great. And those conversations hit different when you've been doing this as long as I have. So it's like, damn, people don't know who I am. Shit. So I decided to take that and use it to my advantage. And, I represented the way I had come out, the way I had looked, the way my friends had come out. And I wanted to get people to remember who I am and what I do, because I'm always the extravagant one. I'm always the guy that's trying to push the envelope, do whatever I can creatively. I pick off from a lot of different influences outside of Metalstep to kind of add to this. And I wanted this presentation to be like, oh wow, this is a different monkey. Maybe I never have met this guy before. So I wanted to take those I've never heard of you before and do something like, okay, well, you've never heard of me before, I'm going to give you something that you'll remember this time for sure. And so that's where this came about, the presentation. Before then, it was just me coming out, rocking out my zip tie, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Club Cutters, was that one of the first venues you got?
No. Club Cutters, I want to say was 5th or 6th on the venues that I've done business with. I want to say like 8th or 9th on the venues that I've played. The first venue that I ever played was a cafe in Miami. It was a party that had moved. It was a venue. That party was originally supposed to be in an indoor karting facility. I was supposed to DJ on a go-kart track and like with a bunch of racing go-karts around me. That never materialized. So they ended up moving the party to a cafe in Miami, and that ended up becoming my first venue. So honestly, it's not as cool as a lot of people's first gimmicks, but it's near and dear to my heart because it's nice to know that like wherever I come from, that was my own little beginning. I can go back to that cafe in Miami and be like, like, okay, it all started right here in this little spot where you get your cafe. And it worked. It was actually a nice night for being in a little cafe. They had to move out furniture for us, but it was great. I had a fun night there for what it was. Could have been a go-kart facility, but
It would have been fun.
That's insane. Have you ever done a blunt at that cafe?
no, I don't think that cafe does things like us or parties like us anymore. I think that was a one-off, to be honest, for them. I think it was a little much for what they were expecting.
I believe I asked this earlier. What were some of your favorite venues that you performed at? What were the worst venues you performed at?
The worst venue. I remember this shithole in Miami that we played at, bro. We played this place in Miami. It was like a hole in the wall, half the size of it. It was like basically the size of the front part of where we're at now at Grimz. That place, we had Midnight Tyrannosaurus there. It was packed, shoulder to shoulder. There was no room. They were trying to mosh. Somebody put their head in the wall. There was a nice giant hole at the end of the night. That place, the venue owners weren't really forthcoming on what they were expecting from us.
Yeah.
So when we came in there and slammed them out, they weren't nice about it. Which, go figure, we overpack your venue and you're still bitching at me. Whatever, I don't complain. But yeah, that was probably the worst venue. My favorite venue, I know you're gonna be like, my favorite venue is this one right here, Grimz. The reasoning for that is, quite honestly, when I first walked in the door, it was blank. It was a blank canvas. I can do whatever I want here. I can create whatever I want here. The venue's run by close friends. The venue is owned by close friends, and they give you a freedom that I've never enjoyed in it. I've worked at tons and tons of venues. I've worked in big venues, small venues, holes in the walls, well-established venues. This one gives me the most freedom. They allow me to do anything short of murder, and if murder was legal, they let me do that too. But they let you do whatever you want here. With that kind of freedom, means your imagination is limitless. And imagination is my superpower. So if I'm able to do whatever I want, I can create whatever I want, I can give you the best of my abilities. This is the place that has allowed me to do the most. So as far as like being able to trust a venue, being able to do whatever you want, and creating your own home, this has to be my favorite venue. But if I were to give an honorable mention, Chemistry was a fucking good venue. Chemistry was a fucking awesome.
Great. You guys looked like you had a fun time at Chemistry.
Oh my god, I love that venue so much. The production there was magnificent. The lighting guy really did his job over there that night.
Yeah.
The vibes were that sound system. Oh man, everything about that place is great.
Well, show me the pictures.
This may be my biggest competition. This is my favorite venue, but I can't answer that question about the Chemistry venue. Chemistry definitely deserves a mention.
For sure. Paul, you created his logo.
It's like, it's kind of
I noticed that they almost looked like a font from corn. Was that part of the inspiration?
Alright, hold on. I'm gonna tell you a funny story. First off, the answer to that question is that is corn's font. Just throwing that out there. The font it's been available for a very long time. I've been using that font since I was a little kid. So I've always downloaded it from the website. When I had booked, I had thrown a blood with Sluggo, and I had booked Sluggo, and I had found out that through that booking and communicating with Sluggo that he knew Jonathan Davis. So one of the stipulations for booking Sluggo is you have to show him the flyer design ahead of time. Sluggo works with Jonathan Davis and had been for a while. He was part of Pompano. So they live next to each other, so they're always in the studio. Sluggo gets the flyer with my name on it. He's like, "Oh, you're a fan of Korn, huh?" Called me out right away. We get into a conversation about how that's like my favorite band and the reason that I live and breathe here. And there's a lot between me and Korn, like involved in my life. So I was telling him all about it, and then he's like, "Oh, you want to hear something funny?" And he tells me all the stuff that he was doing with Jonathan Davis. And then at the end, he video chats me. Video chats me. JD is behind me. And I'm thinking that in this moment, there's only one or two things that's gonna happen. Either I'm getting fucking sued, or this is gonna be the greatest thing in my life. I ended up being the latter because all he did was he looked at the camera and said, "Your logo's fucking cute." And then I was like, all right, yes. So JD approved that logo, so I'm happy for that.
Hell yeah. Do you have any other encounters similar to that besides Jonathan Davis? Did you ever have any other encounters with rock stars besides Jonathan Davis? Any other rock stars?
I've met quite a few. So I've met Twiggy from Metalstep because they live in the area, right? I've met Violent J and Shaggy at Culture way back.
Really? Culture?
Yeah. That was like, excuse me, not Culture. That was in Miami.
Yeah.
I met them in Hangar. I met Twisted.
Oh my God, that show was
Yeah.
the beach by the end of the show.
I met the clowns in different areas, but I met ICP in Hangar after their show at Hangar, which was. I've seen ICP a million times. That was the best way to see ICP. Very intimate. It was the size of this place. I was way up with them. I was getting pelted by soda the whole time. We got to have a little conversation afterwards. You know, nothing like, "Oh, I love you guys." Nothing huge, but you know, getting to meet them was cool. We got to smoke and Twisted. That was fun. That was also in passing. It was kind of like, "Oh, let me get you button on it." But I've met those two. Not so well known, but in the Juggalo world, it's a brag. I was promoting Low Key before Low Key became the big guy that he is that plays all the Juggalo stuff. He was one of the hardcore rappers that I would promote way back when I was a little kid.
Since we're on the topic of ICP, have you yourself ever traveled to the Gavin and the Juggalos?
I snuck out when I was 16 to go see them. I saw them again when I was 19 years old, and I think the last time I went to the gathering, what was the year right before they moved it? I want to say that was 08?
No, it was 2010.
2010 would have been the last. They moved it from the original site that they had it, and then that stopped going. But yeah, 2010 would have been like the last one that I've been at. But yeah, I think it'd be good. It's an experience. If you've never been to, and you like that music, or you like that culture, you like those people, definitely go to one. At least one. It's definitely an experience. Much more than just a concert with music or a festival of music. They got like wrestling.
They got people
whole
beating
vibe.
on each other and all that shit.
See, I've seen Brandon Buckingham and Tommy G go to a couple of them. They went to the 23 one, the 2024 one. Those are my favorites. The 22 ones are especially hilarious. I don't know if you guys watch them. I gotta send you those links.
Yep.
Do you incorporate ICP into your dubstep?
In the music, no, because honestly, it's hard to find remixes. But in the presentation and in the look, yeah, ICP is a part of the inspirations that I pull from when for aesthetic purposes. And honestly, how I do a lot of my social communication and stuff like that, like my online work. Right. A lot of that comes from watching how ICP handles their brands. So, in a business aspect and in a aesthetic aspect, yeah, they're one of my main influences. Okay. But as far as music, it's hard to fit them in. At least in the dubstep.
I don't know. I feel like you could work your way around it. It's just a lot
I'm
of
always
producing.
open. I'm always open to it. It's just finding the I guess the right stunt package to put it all together. I just have to find the right mix, I guess.
Alright. What are your favorite genres to play when you're playing mixes? Do you prefer the metal mixes? Do you prefer the hip hop rap mixes? Do you prefer just pure dubstep?
Metal.
Metal.
I like anything metal, but to give you a good answer, I perform metal step a lot. That's what I'm known for out here in real life. So I perform that a lot. However, not so well known to a lot of other people. At home, I don't really play that music. At home, on Kick or when I'm streaming, I'm usually playing techno, house music, drum and bass. I like coming out of my box as much as possible. I don't like being stuck in the metal box. I don't want to be only known for that. I know it's what I'm good at. I know I'm a pioneer kid, but I like being able to explore music. That's how I got here. Right. So I do enjoy dark techno, dark vibe techno. I love house music that's nice and high octane and high energy. My drum and bass, same high octane, high energy, dark vibes. Anything that can make me headbang, I will play it.
Any kind of aggro techno.
Yeah, anything that's aggressive.
Okay. Now speaking of Kick, you have your own podcast.
Yeah.
Unsolicited Fantasy Advice.
Yeah.
How did that come to be?
Good question. Love this question. I'm a huge sports guy. From the monkey question, you can figure that. But I'm a huge sports guy. And when I took in the hiatus that I was talking about earlier, that's what I ended up falling into. Was I had a chat with my closest friends. I talk to these people every single day. Right. And we would share our sports bets. We would talk football shit to each other. And eventually somebody came up with the idea that, hey, we could probably make a podcast out of it. We all liked Pat McAfee at the time, so hey, we could make a podcast out of this. And I'm the kind of the guy that, like, if I see an idea and I like the idea, I'm just gonna do it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm gonna execute it. Right. And it ended up working. It starts as a project between friends that's like, we just like talking sports, and it evolved into what it is now. But at the core of it, it's just me and my chat talking as we do in front of a camera, and we look forward to that. If 3 people watch it, if 30 people watch it, if 300 people watch it, it makes no difference. If no people watch it, it makes no difference to us. As long as every Tuesday we get to talk about the sports that we're talking about with each other, that's what makes us happy. And I think that's what, it's such a genuine feeling. I think that's what's carrying that podcast, is that it's just homies talking about football. Right. But I'm super passionate about sports, so that was always something that we were going to attempt to do. It was a natural thing for us. I got you.
Other than football, what would you say are your other favorite sports?
Huge Miami Heat fan. I'm a huge Florida Panther fan. I have trust issues. I'm a homer, but I have trust issues with the Marlins. Listen, a I was with them in '97. I was a little baby, but I was with them in '97 when they won the World Series. They sold the whole damn team. They got rid of the whole fucking team. So you take a little hit, get used to some new players. 2003 happens, we beat the Yankees. Yeah, got rid of that whole team. I was out after that. I was like, fuck this. Every time the friggin' team does good, everyone you sell out. And I have huge trust issues with baseball.
Understandably
But
so.
Hurricanes, huge Hurricane fan. Yeah, that football, basketball, hockey, baseball. If there's a Miami or Floridian team, I'm there for it. But my favorites, my personal favorite is always going to be football. That's the one that I grew up playing.
Well, with this setup, I would also assume you're a huge wrestling fan.
Yes, that is a big influence in the aesthetic that I am now. So
you really do encompass everything.
Yeah.
That is you.
yes, when, like I said before, when I was answering that other question, I like to have every aspect of my personality involved in my presentation and my music.
Right.
Wrestling. When we talk about sports, it's one thing. But when we talk about wrestling, it's a completely other conversation. Wrestling was a very significant part of my upbringing, my growing up. Me and my brother were obsessed. We're talking, we were the kind of kids in the Monday Night Wars where one of us would sit in one of our rooms and watch WWF Raw. The other one would sit in the other room and watch WCW Nitro, scream at each other what was happening through the hallway. So we were like super into wrestling. And I've always been that way. I never outgrew wrestling. And I've always been into the darker characters of wrestling. Undertaker was my favorite wrestler. Kane was a part of that. I loved the Brood.
Road Warriors.
I love the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. But I think I have a personal affinity to Bray Wyatt. And it sucks that his career ended as early as it did. I was really looking forward to the story that they were building to.
Yeah.
But for me, the stories that he had told, because there was a couple. There was the Fiend thing with the Randy Orton, the Firefly Funhouse and how he created that, and then before that the Bayou cult that he had.
Right.
Everything that he did, I had such a personal, wow, this is so odd, a personal attachment to it. I was like, yeah, this is right up my alley. The last gimmick that he had before he had died, the last thing that he was doing before he had died, it resonated with me so greatly that I wanted to make that a part of my return, from hiatus. So he had this set up. When he had died, the Wyatt Six was coming. They had these promos in the beginning where they were cutting, they were doing signal interferences with wrestling matches, throwing QR codes and messages and stuff to that nature. And it was always to the context of, you forgot us, or, we're the forgotten, we're the ones that are coming out of the Marianne Clayton. I loved that so damn much because I felt the same way in the DJ world. I was like, damn, y'all fucking forgot me. It used to be this big, huge thing.
Yeah.
And then I leave for a few years, it's that quick, y'all fucking forgot me. So that aesthetic and that story that he was getting to that he never got to finish, I wanted to try to finish it in my own way. I wanted to try to write that into my own story and then try to finish that tale with my own remix, with my own spin on it. But it's an unfinished story that he never got to finish, and they're finishing it with the Wyatt Six in the WWE world.
Right.
But the concept and the idea of it was so fucking relatable to me that I wanted to bring it into this world. And I worked so hard with Polly and a few others to create this idea on how we were going to do it. This is how we did it. This is what we came up with. But God, dude, that guy is like the biggest influence on me right now, and WWE in general. That's like such a huge part of my life. That I've always wanted to be able to do this, and I never found a way to. If I could have found a way back then to have a WWE presentation where I come out like a whole entrance, like I'm doing now, with a whole. If I was able to do that back then, I would have been doing it back then. I found a way to do it now, and I'm so happy because like now I feel like I am the most complete being of the monkey that I really want to present. I'm fully into who I am. That I'm a wrestling nerd. I'm a sports guy. I'm a guy that came from the metal world. I'm a juggalo in some respect. Like I wanted to find a way to fit this mess into a being that I can present, and I finally, with the help of Bray Wyatt and a few other people, have found a way to do that in a way that I'm happy with, and I'm really happy with.
For sure. And I feel like you're succeeding a lot with how you're doing, because everyone's talking about it, everyone's been to your shows, people still have the flyers saved in their phones, the whole nine.
I love that because I put on.
Well, I can't do that. I know for a fact I still have the flyers saved in my phone.
Whoever does, honestly, I put a lot of effort into everything that I do. I could have came in here tonight and bored you with a bunch of. I enjoy doing stuff like this and putting my all into stuff like this. So like even these little designs, you know, that's my art. I actually see that.
You can barely see it because the light's dying on me, but yeah, that's what we're looking at.
Even though, like these are, you know, I put a lot of personal work into this, into even these little designs, the way I dress, the way you saw how long it took to get the face ready for everything, like
yeah, absolutely.
Everything that we do, we wanted to do with 100% effort to show what it looks like when there's a
no, but it was cool that you got to do that and do that way before this interview because we actually felt we were hanging out way before me.
Yeah, and you got to see the back end, but you get to damn it. There's a whole. It's when so many people care about one thing, it doesn't feel like work. And all of these guys love doing this because this is stuff that we usually do with no reason. Now we have a reason to do it.
Yeah,
but everything that we do is 100% effort, and it's a labor of love. I want to say it's a labor of love. It's a lot of love behind it. It's a lot of thought behind it. And the people that are involved really do help me get this. Without them, I can't. I'm just a guy. Without them, I can't get all this done. I don't paint my face. I don't, you know. Without them, without my family, without the people around me, there's no me.
Yeah.
And with these people's support, I feel unstoppable, borderline bulletproof. So a lot of that comes from their effort, their love, their own initiative into how do I make this better for you. Like it's nice to see because that I'm almost, I want to say I'm not here just for me, I'm here for them.
Right.
I could be chilling at home, relaxing. I've already done this once before. But these guys love seeing me come out. They love seeing me do me. They believe in what I do. They believe in the music. They believe in the aesthetic. They believe in what we're doing. So when you're pushed with that kind of motivation behind you, you can move mountains. Is the way I feel.
For sure. Having that background is definitely what's the word? It's a huge benefit in the work that you do.
Yeah.
Do you have any other upcoming music projects or event projects that you like to plug in?
We have Ominous coming down for April 19th. That's my big baddie. We also have. I'm very proud of this party. I'm proud of everything that I do. I very much am looking forward to Ominous, but if there's one party that I think is going to be a slam dunk, a really fun night, it's Charmed. Charmed is.
Did you name that one off the
Yeah,
TV show?
yeah, I did.
God.
Charmed is a TV show, but my mom loved, obsessed. We would have to go to bed early for Charmed. Charmed and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but Charmed for sure. So when I was coming up, I wanted to do something for the female talent in our local scene.
Right.
We have an incredible amount of that talent.
The roster's huge.
Yeah, and they don't get, at least in my opinion, other people may have different opinions. In my opinion, I don't think they get spotlighted enough. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we can spotlight these people enough. So I wanted to curate an event, because I curate so many events and so many different things. And I wanted to do something that was unlike all the other things that I did. I didn't want to just gear everything towards the blood, guts, aggressiveness. This is cool to a guy. Like, I wanted something for the female witch. That same aesthetic geared to females. I wanted something that the girls would like. So I came up with Charmed, and then I booked, in my opinion, the best lineup that could possibly be booked of an all-female roster. That's going to be headed by Sailor Moon and Mistaken. We got G Frequency. We got Paradise Lost, Slaughter Queen, Dragon's Blood, Chalice. I'm talking, but every single name on this flyer is going to slam. So as much as I want to talk about Ominous, I already know that. I already know people know what this guy's all about. I already know what people know that B-Rod, Martes, and more are going to come out and kill it. People already know who I am. People have seen Alaric and Pub Dubs. He's been slamming Pub Dubs for years. They already know what this is about. But Charmed, this is the sneak up party. This is the party you don't want to actually miss. I feel like that's the party that's going to be like my grand opus, you know?
For sure.
We also have other parties coming down the pipeline. We got something on the 4th. We got something on in May. We have something. It's May 10th and May 24th is this one.
Okay.
So we got Grimz is going to be popping. We have a new. I want to say it's a. I don't want to call it out as a production company because that's not what it is. We have a alliance. I want to say it's an alliance. It's like the South Floridian electronic music scene's version of a NATO. So a bunch of different event coordinators have come together to form one unit that we've called SICK, Strategic Innovative Creations. And SICK is going to be providing a lot of the events that you're going to see me promoting in the future, a lot of the events that are coming here with Grimz. And what this does is not only get people to work together as a community,
right,
and try to help each other out, but also it gives more input on creative ideas, on imagination. If it's just me doing things, you're gonna know right away. This is a monkey flyer. This is a monkey party. Obviously, it's monkey. Look at the aesthetic. But with these other guys coming in, they bring in their own ideas, their own aesthetics, their own way of doing things.
Right.
And it helps add a little more flavor where things don't get stale. So what's SICK, I'm very proud of what I'm doing with SICK right now. But what SICK is going to end up turning out to be is the big alliance of the music scenes. the brains behind the parties that you end up attending.
So it's like the intro to the Warriors.
Basically, yes. I call it NATO. I call it NATO because that's the best way of putting it. It's a bunch of people with their own identities and their own ideas and their own aesthetics coming together under one banner to support each other and help each other grow. And this way, the community feels more involved, because what we're trying to do is get the community in. Well, I don't want the community to feel like they're left out of this. They're just coming to things that are already set up and they're out of the loop. And I want the community to feel involved. I want to create an event space that feels interactive, like you have a say in what you're seeing right now. This event it's just as much me as Monkey or Paulie. This is my event. This is your event. This is our event. This is us. I want SICK to stand for that. I want SICK the idea of SICK to grow into its community. That's why we call it community creates culture. We're trying to build a culture of people wanting to like lift each other up instead of being so competitive and shutting each other out and stepping on each other's toes and slashing throats. There's ways of doing this where we all win and where we all have fun doing it.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to create that kind of a culture, and I wanted the community to be able to create that too. Like, I want the community to be involved in everything that we're doing 100% of the way. Because I feel like that's important.
Absolutely. You want to cater to your crowd. You don't want to just do everything based on what you want.
Yeah. Because otherwise it gets stale. You know, if you're just doing things for you, start a stream, start up a Twitch account, do a kick, do a podcast. If you're just doing things for you, there's ways of doing that.
Yeah.
But when I come out here, I'm doing things for other people. I want to entertain. I want to be appealing to everybody. So I'm also working in a place where other people are also doing business and want to do stuff that I'm doing too. There's ways of doing this when we all don't kill each other. So I don't want to just play to what I like, because I mean, I have a podcast, so what I like is doing fine. I want to do something with the community. That's why I'm coming out here. Otherwise, I'd stay retired, I'd stay hiatus, and I'd still be on the podcast right now just doing that.
Right.
I wanted to do something that involved everybody, and I wanted everybody to get in on it. If I'm a year from now coming to events and seeing other people face painted, I would love that. That would do my heart like the greatest good. It would fill me with so much emotion. Like,
his heart grew 3 times bigger.
Yeah, basically, just seeing people want to be involved in things makes me feel good. Like, it makes me feel like I'm not doing this for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, like, seeing that kind of, I'm always shooting for that kind of interaction. I always like community. I'm always about coming up together. You know what I'm saying? To my detriment sometimes, but that's where I'm at.
Well, is it really a detriment if you're trying to provide not only a safe space for the community, but you're also trying to encourage future artists who want to do something similar to yours? It doesn't have to necessarily be exactly to the T. But if you know someone's up there, they're masked or they're not masked, they have face paint, and they do it because you inspire them in some sort of capacity.
Yeah, I don't think that's the detriment. I think where the detriment comes, in truth, it's like this in any situation, any industry, any project, anything that you do. Greed and selfishness would screw up an event or anything like this, any community related. So that would be the only detriments that come are from people that would want to take advantage of what we're doing, or want to, you know, they see it only as, how do I get, what am I getting out of this? When people come up with that, or they come up with greed, where they're stealing or they're backdooring, that's where the detriment comes. I'm hoping that we never experience these things. I've never experienced them as far as when I've come back. things have been pretty solid. But that's where I would see the problem. Is if, you know, people try to come into the community for greed purposes or for selfish purposes, trying to get in and not try to give back to the community. That's what community is all about: giving in, getting, and putting it back. You know, if you get the support, you got to give out the same support.
No, for sure. If you're going to a show, you might as well go to support. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, like not everything's about you.
Plus, I feel like you. And I'm going to speak to artists and DJs around here. I think you do yourself a disservice when you go to other shows, because you don't. If you only sit in one box and you're only playing in one box, that's the only box you'll ever know. You don't know the world outside. You only know what's in that little box that you play. So I encourage as much as I can, go to shows, go to other people's events, ask for the guest list if you can. If not, pay the damn door fee. It's what, 10 to 20 bucks? Go to the show and see other people do things.
Yes.
And then take from it what you think is worth taking. And find a way to incorporate that into what you are doing.
It's almost like the GQ method.
Yeah, learn from other people. I come out to shows for so many different reasons. If it's not to work on me or get new ideas for what I'm doing, it's to find out who my booking is.
Right.
Because I throw shows too. So I need to know who's out here, who's playing. So that's probably the only way you can do that, is to go through other shows, see other people play, see how other coordinators, if you're a coordinator, see how other coordinators are throwing shows, the ins and outs of that, the mistakes and the knots. You know, this helps educate you, and this helps you in the long run. If you want to look at it in a selfish way, it helps you in the long run. The more education you get, the better your odds at whatever you're doing being successful. So I always encourage, support your local scene. Support it because the support comes back. Go to the other events. Go to the other shows. Listen to those SoundCloud links that get sent in your inbox that seem fucking annoying, but it's just a guy like you trying to get out there. Listen to those guys. You never know when somebody is going to be the next home run hitter, and he's just looking for somebody to notice him, you know?
Yeah.
This music scene has got a lot of talent that has not been uncovered and is sitting in somebody's inbox right now waiting for you to listen to their creations and believe in them. That go, if you want to be the best of your abilities as a local, plug into your local scene. This is not for me saying, hey, come to my shows. I don't give a fuck if you come to my shows. Go to other people's shows. But if you're looking for advice from a guy that's been doing this for as long as I've been doing this for like 15 years, if you're looking for me from advice as a local artist, that's my best advice. Support your local scene, and there's so much that comes from that. There's education, networking, and influence that comes from that. There's so much to gain from that. If you're just sitting in your bedroom, only playing one or two places, you're doing yourself a mad disservice.
Bedroom DJs.
Yeah. Which there's nothing wrong with bedroom DJs, dude. That's where I started. I had to learn how to DJ somewhere, and I learned in my bedroom. So I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. But don't let that be the end all be all of what you are. You know. And if you find yourself playing in one place, look for other places to play. Don't abandon that place. That's where you started, obviously. But look for other places to play. Don't just sit in the one box.
Yeah.
Open yourself up. Support your local scene. I can say that 1,000 fucking times. Support your local scene, and the local scene will support you in return. It's the best trade-off we have done.
Aside from supporting your local scenes, is there any other advice you'd like to give to the audience before we wrap up this interview?
Be different. The reason that you know me is because I'm different. The reason that you are interviewing me right now is because I don't look like the other guy that you interviewed. Be different. As an event coordinator that looks for people to put on flyers, to put on stages, to play their music, I'm not looking for a guy that comes in with their headphones and their USB stick, plug it in, bob your head for an hour, go home. There's 1,000 of them. But there's only one guy that's gonna come out here with a mask out of like 50. There might be one guy out of 50 that comes out of here with face paint and a smoke machine. There might be one guy out of 50 that comes out with a gimmick like eating pizza up at the top of the stage with sunglasses. Gunther. There's so many bob your head whatever DJs, and there's not enough different. There's not enough. All right, there's only one you. Be fucking different, because especially in this area, in this region, there's so many other DJs out here playing music that you have to be somewhat different, or you're just gonna get lost in the 1,000 other fucking people that have decided they want to be a DJ yesterday. That's saxophone. I love that guy. He's a saxophone. I love that. But and dude, for the matter way, Sullivan King comes out with a guitar. The guy that we played for chemistry, Sodown comes out with. Those things are different. Sodown comes out with a trumpet, with a saxophone. Plays. Those things are different. Be different. That people remember that way more than they remember some guy that came in that played a cool set, because some guy comes in always and plays a cool set, but DJing is not that hard. Be different, be entertaining, and involve yourself again in your, if it's here or not here, in your local scene. Also, don't sell the internet short. I don't understand why more people don't stream down here. We have a lot of great DJs, a lot of them. And the bar on the internet, on Twitch or on
You and DJ Reigns are probably the only two people I think that actually go online DJ like that.
and the bar on that is so low. The bar is like here, dude. I'm whatevering and impressing people. So when I go and start doing all the cool tricks, the chopping, they're like, oh my god, I've never seen. If more locals started playing on the internet, I would have a way harder time competing.
Yeah.
But don't sell the internet short. I've done a lot of great things with the internet. Don't sell the internet short. Get yourself a Twitch channel, or get yourself a kid channel. Get on the internet. If you're a DJ right now, the bar is fucking low on the internet. Make yourself name, bro. Whatever you can do to get your name out there. Promotion is the key, but all that promotion means nothing if you're not different. So the number one thing, when all roads lead to the same thing, be different and take pride in what you do. Don't have that shit. That would be my advice. And if you're a fucking event coordinator, for the love of God, fans in the DJ booth, please.
Fans in the DJ booth, please.
Fans in the DJ booth, especially for people that paint their faces. Event coordinators need fans in the DJ booth. That's what I got.
Thank you, DJ Munkey. I appreciate you. Love y'all guys. Light died.
There's no compromise for quality.
Count on us.
And there's nothing too good for a customer.